Hello Aries, this is Natalia. So welcome to your reading for the month of April. And Aries, this is your month, isn't it? The sun's in your sign. It's a new beginning. It's the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere and the beginning of autumn in the southern hemisphere. So it just feels like everything's going through some kind of renewal. And I guess you are too, because that's coming up very strongly in your main reading. So I've got 3 cards that look at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the month for you. And then do listen up to the end, because we've got a couple of planets going retrograde this month, which are, creating some interesting dynamics for us. And I wanted to have a look at what the angelic take was on this, because we have the astrological side of things through Astrolada's wonderful videos. But I always want to see what have the angels got to say for each star sign. For the fact that Mars is going retrograde around the middle of the month and Mercury is going retrograde again at the end of this month. So let's begin by having a look at the beginning of April. And the first card I've drawn for you is the Page of Fire. And this really personifies you, Aries. It's all of that kind of Aryan determination, that go-getting, that daring do, where you just are very much focused on a goal and you're just scooting right on after it. So as the month begins, it sees you really looking at, you've got this little dragon sitting on top of an egg and really, creating this embryo, and you can see this little fiery dragon embryo inside it because the egg is crystal clear, so we can see right inside. We can see all of these sparks of fire shooting up inside of the egg, but it's not quite ready to hatch. And you see that there's a full moon behind the head of this little dragon. So I feel as though this is something that you're working on right now. Nobody really knows much about it, and you're going to bring it to fullness at some time in the month. I feel like I'm drawn towards the end of the month, where I feel like everything's going to come together for you on this. But I get this real sense of excitement, this sense of you having kind of hatched this plan. You've been working on it, almost like behind the scenes, so people don't really know. It can't quite be brought out to see the light of day just yet. There are some tweaks and some things that you need to do before you can start spreading the word about it. But as you go about trying to crystallize it, trying to bring it to life, you're just so sort of happy and really focused on this. You're just so driven to get it to a shape where it's just literally ready to launch to people. So that's what you're busy with right at the start of the month, this idea that you want to get off the ground, but that you have to shape before you can actually tell anybody the exact details of what it is. When we get to the middle of the month, it does feel as though you are literally leaving your cares and worries behind you. And it feels as the month goes on, as this thing progresses that you've been working on, that you've been building up towards, that you just do get this sense of relief. And I feel as though there's this kind of, the month goes in this cycle. So you start it off very exciting. You have this kind of moving away from things, really becoming much more independent and needing to grow and stretch. And the way that you were doing things doesn't serve you, so you're having to literally move away from the things that held you back, I guess. And it could be physically moving away, or it could just be getting a break from those things so you can see everything so much clearer. And I feel that is very much what the Mars retrograde, and Mars being your ruling planet, is going to have this effect for you. It's going to give you this kind of incentive to want to branch out, move away, and to let go of things that have just stifled you, have made you think maybe in a lesser way about yourself. You're playing a bigger game now, and that is what you're looking ahead, you're looking forward into the distance, you're not looking back anymore. And the month ends on a similar theme, where as the month comes to a close and the moon comes to fullness and Mercury starts to go retrograde, that is where you really get this sense of, I almost feel like it's like, where something is sealed and then we turn it a notch and the seal is broken and then the air all kind of gushes out, and it's got that kind of feeling about it. You see these this herd or a group of unicorns all kind of dashing out of this forest, and it's like that sense of relief and release when we know that we are closing the door on something and we are not going to go back over that. We are able to just let it out and to just breathe and to forge on ahead. The pathway is clear and that is the direction we're going in. And that feels very much connected to what I was saying about at the beginning of the month, where you're working on this project, possibly in secret, where you have had to just keep a veil drawn over it because there were certain things that, when something's not in a I don't know, far enough along in terms of progress, we can't really start talking about it. We can't really start selling it to people or start trying to put our ideas in front of people because they just wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get the vision because it's just not fully formed enough. Well, to me, it feels like, as the month progresses, you're moving further and further away from that stage of having to be secretive, and that by the end of the month, you just kind of open the door, open the gates, and you're there. You're able to start sharing, you're able to start moving forward, and it does feel like a big sense of relief. It feels like this weight's taken off your shoulders because you were having to keep a lid on it, and you were a little bit worried about maybe how you were going to actually put it past people, or perhaps how you were going to convince people, that maybe you had a lot of belief in this thing that you were working on, but you didn't know whether other people would go along with you. And you get to a stage where you've actually implemented this, you've done something with it, it comes to life, and you can actually see it, and you are so proud, you're so happy, and then there you go, dashing off ahead into the future, not looking back behind you. Some of this energy actually can lend itself to, if we're looking for another job or we're planning on setting up a business and we're working somewhere and we can't leave, but we're just kind of, we've got one foot in one camp, but we're planning our future, we're planning our getaway. And we can't make a move too soon because we would lose our financial security. And so the timing's got to be right, and we've got to know that we've definitely got the other job, or we've definitely got some clients so we can start to trade in a new business. And it feels like that. So some of you listening to this will apply to you, that you are making changes. You're either setting your own business up and you're intending to leave your job, or you want to leave one job to another job, but there are all of the finer details that are needed to be undertaken before you can actually start making announcements. But it feels like you are able to do that at the end of April, and it feels very, very good indeed. So good luck with that. I hope that any of you out there who are making big changes this month, don't worry, even though you're having to keep a lid on things, you will be ready. You will be ready to make your move, and what you've created actually looks very good. So, I mentioned at the beginning of the reading that I was going to draw a couple of cards that related to the Mars and Mercury retrogrades, and what do the angel cards have to say about it, or the oracle cards that I'm using. Well, I drew first of all, I drew a card from the Magical Unicorn deck by Doreen Virtue. So every card in this deck has a unicorn of some kind on it. And this unicorn here looks a little bit like a Palomino pony. So I've never seen a unicorn like that before. They're usually white or, sometimes like a beige colour on these Doreen Virtue cards. But in this case, it looks like a Native American Indian horse. Which is really fascinating, and the landscape in the background, it looks like Monument Valley, or an area like that in the desert. So really beautiful backdrop, and this lady is just cradling the unicorn's head in her hands, and it's standing there very still. And this talks about family culture, and it says learn more about your family's stories and history. And So for me, it feels as though something that you are wanting to do and something that comes about around the middle of April when Mars goes retrograde is harking you back, is taking you back to your tradition, your heritage. So what is it within your family? What did your family do? What are your roots? And those traditions seem to have some kind of importance for you now. So it may be that you do a regular 9 to 5 job, but your passion is doing something creative, and that your grandfather or your grandmother was an artist, or they were a shoemaker or a dressmaker, or that they did something that was incredibly creative, and you have that in the genes, and you have that in your DNA and your soul, and you just want to do that. You want to break out of the monotony of what you've been doing and connect much more with your culture, with your heritage. And there is this whole kind of theme for you this month, very much coming through to me, about there is something in your backdrop, in your family history, that is calling to you to bring that into your day-to-day life now. So have a think about how this relates to you, and how Mars retrograde is actually bringing something back that goes back in the generations of your family, and is becoming something very important in your life right now. And this is a really interesting card and a really interesting concept. I mean, I've never actually had a message like that before in a reading. So I am so interested to know from all of you Aries what it is that resonates with you around that message and that card. Okay, so yeah, do leave your comments, because I do read all of them. I don't always have time to answer them all, but I do definitely read them all, and I just value them so much. So thank you for commenting. And the second card I drew comes from the Soul's Journey lesson cards, and these are by a gentleman called James Van Praagh. And I really like using these cards for pulling one card to talk about a distinctive message. And this is very good for this Mars and Mercury retrograde, this little mini reading at the end. And this is the Purpose card. And such a powerful message. I mean, this month of April, it feels as though every single star sign that I have read for, there has been a theme, a thread that is running all the way through, and it just gets tied together really beautifully by these two cards that come up at the end. And this has happened again for you, so it has not failed me at all. And I talked about you working on something, you really crafting it and making it whole and beautiful and as perfect as you can before you were actually able to unleash it onto the world, or make your move fully and do a big reveal to people about what's going on. It's something connected to your history, something in your blood, something that you want to do, that you're very passionate about. And this card talks about your purpose. It talks about, I know what I'm here to do. And you know what? When we know that, isn't that just so wonderful? It doesn't even almost matter how you do it, just knowing what it is that you want to do is it's the game changer. It is the holy grail. What do you want to do? And so many people come to me and ask for readings and say, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling lost, I'm feeling confused. And that is usually a time when they are ready to have big changes coming in their life, because then, we see when we lay the cards out that those changes are actually occurring. And these feelings of being kind of in this kind of dizzy state of not knowing where they are, of kind of being a little bit confused, come before big changes. And you're being presented with this mission, and the card always has a mandala type image on it, and this one has the greeny color of the heart chakra, which is all about what does my heart want to do. And then we have this violet color, this lavender kind of color of the crown chakra, which is all about the higher purpose, the higher power, the knowing, the connectedness with the divine source. And when we can make that connection with what we love doing and what our higher self wants us to do, it's like bingo. That is it. And this is such a lovely and very, very reassuring message, I hope, for you, Aries, that April could be one of those very significant months in your life where you are given the green light to go ahead with the things that you want to do, that are in your heart, that you know you must do, but also connecting you with that sense of knowing what you came here to do. And when that happens, it is literally like magic. So I really do hope that that happens for you this month, Aries. And I hope you've enjoyed your reading with me this month. I want to invite you to like my Facebook page, Angel Lady, because we have a little community of like-minded souls and post lots of really lovely things about angels. So visit me there. And if you would like to schedule a private reading with me, you can contact me through the link below this video and by visiting astrolada.com. I am there as a reader. You just click on my link and select whatever kind of reading you would like. So I do hope to hear from you with your comments, and if you want a private reading, that'd be wonderful. I'm delighted to read for you. But in the meantime, Aries, have a fabulous month. I just know it's going to be very powerful for you. I don't know how, but I wish you very, very wonderful things and sending you lots of angel blessings.